She looked him in the eyes and spoke honestly. "Gamblers never make good husbands." Her words were calm, but they hit harder than any loss he had ever suffered. In that moment, his heart broke. That night, he sat alone at a poker table surrounded by noise and laughter. But for the first time, the cards in his hands brought him no joy. He could only think about her words. As the fire crackled in the corner of the room, he made a choice that would change everything. He threw his cards into the flames and watched his old life burn away. The next morning, he walked past the saloon doors without going inside. The gamblers stared in disbelief as he left behind the only life he had ever known. Days turned into weeks. Instead of gambling for money, he worked for it. From sunrise to sunset, he repaired fences, cared for horses, and built a future with his own hands. Months passed, and the town began to notice. The reckless gambler was gone. In his place stood a hard-working man known for his honesty, discipline, and determination. One afternoon, she watched him helping an elderly farmer without expecting anything in return. For the first time, she saw not who he had been, but who he had become. A year later, he stood before her once again. His clothes were simple, his hands rough from work, but his eyes carried a confidence that had never been there before. A year later, he stood before her once again. His clothes were simple, his hands rough from work, but his eyes carried a confidence that had never been there before. Tears filled her eyes as she smiled and said yes. The man who once gambled away his future had earned something far greater, a life built on trust, love, and a second chance. As the sun set over the ranch, their new journey began.